doing, brother?
How we got over here.
Come talk to me, bro. What's your name, bro? Walter. You want to know how we got over here? All right, let me ask you a question. You ever seen Roots or the Django and all that?
Yeah, with Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, yeah. So you know about the slaves, right? So don't they call us African? I mean, don't they call us African American?
Yeah.
So we do know that we come from this side of the world, right?
Yeah.
From Africa, right?
Yeah,
how we get over here?
Yeah, I want to know how we get over here.
Okay, give me Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. You ever heard of the transatlantic slave trade?
No.
You never heard of slavery? I mean, was the slave trade?
Selling people?
Yeah, selling people. Yeah, so
I heard of that. I know a little something about it.
okay, well, you know, in 1619, it was called the transatlantic slave trade, right? Where the so-called, these people right here, the Africans and the Arabs, right?
Yeah.
They hunted us down, the Jews. We the real Jews. They hunted us down over here in Africa, and they sold us to the Europeans.
Right.
You understand? They sold us, and we came on slave ships. This is documented in the Bible. This Bible was written thousands of years ago. We came over in 1619. Now, I'm going to prove to you that the slave ship is in the Bible. Give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So the Lord said he was going to bring the Israelites into Egypt again. You familiar with the Moses story? You know what I'm saying? When he got the Israelites out of bondage. Give me Egypt real quick. I'm going to show you something because he said we going back into Egypt again. The Israelites walked out of Egypt. They didn't, now say, yeah, they walked out of Egypt. You didn't need a boat to go back. You know what I'm saying? The Israelites, they didn't go back as a nation. God said we going back into Egypt again, so let's find out what he's talking about.
The book of Exodus, chapter 21 and verse 2.
20 verse 2.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So what did he call Egypt? He said, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So what's another word for bondage? If you bonded up, what does that mean? You chained up, right? That means some type of form of slavery. So that's what Egypt means. He said, out of the house of bondage, right? So when you go back to Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, listen to it again.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Bondage again with ships, right? So you just said, you agreed that we came on ships, right?
Some of us did.
Some of us did because guess what? Our Native brothers, our Native American brothers was already here. When we talking about the Negro today, the so-called Black American, they drug us over here on cargo slave ships. God said that was going to happen to us. He said, you coming back into Egypt or bondage again on ships. Let's find out what happened when we got off them slave ships.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
You say you're not going to see your homeland again because have you seen your homeland again? Or are we still here in America? We still here in America, right? So I let you know, man, you know you from Africa, but yet you ain't never been there.
Right.
And us as the majority of the people ain't been there. We've been stuck here in the same hellhole they drug us on. He said you ain't going to see your homeland again. But let's find out more. And there, he say, and there, wherever that slave ship, because remember, we ain't just come to America. They drug us from the west coast of Africa, the south coast of Africa. Look at the map. Some of us came to South America, Mexico, North America. They even took us back to Europe. We in China. The Negro in every country. We in China. Yes, the Negro is in China being called nigga. Nigga, you understand that? He say, and there you should be what?
Ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
He said you're going to be sold unto your enemy. Now, did that happen to us? Look at that right there. They sold them. Sold Negroes. Who the enemy? Who did we get sold to? It ain't rocket science. Who sold us?
Our own people sold us.
Nah, our own people didn't sell us.
Who sold us?
The so-called Arabs and the so-called Africans, they sold the real Israelites. You understand that?
You say Arabs.
Arabs, yes. You ever heard of the Sub-Saharan slave trade? Look at these photos. This ain't fake.
No, I know it's real.
You understand that? Because think about it. They like to say we sold each other. Then I always like to ask the question, would you ever sell your mama into slavery?
No.
Would you ever sell your brother into slavery?
No.
So why in the hell would you do it back then? That don't make sense, do it?
No.
But that's the lies they teach.
I just told him that.
That don't make sense, do it? But why would they like to say, oh, you niggas sold each other? That don't make any sense. Why would we sell our own people and you won't do it today? You understand that? That is a lie. God said we was going to be what?
And ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman,
Slave man,
and bondwoman,
slave woman.
and no man shall buy you.
No man should free you. Why? Because then we have Herod. Give me Joel 3 and 3. I'm going to show you who sold us. The Bible got the answer. Go ahead.
The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
You hear what the Bible said? It's like, and they, the other nations, have cast lots for his people. Because God has a people. Those people on that sign right there, that is God's chosen people. Go ahead.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
Have given a boy for a harlot. Go ahead.
And sold a girl for wine.
Have sold a girl for wine. You can see that in the Django. They showed you that. They showed you what they did to us. Go ahead.
That they might drink. Yea, yea. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Those are the African nations. He said, what do you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Those are African nations. You know what I'm saying? Dark-skinned people. Those are the so-called Hamites. You understand? We Semitic. They Hamitic. They sold us. Go ahead.
And all the coast of Palestine.
All the coast of Palestine, yo Arabs. They sold you. They know. They come over and sell up fish and chicken, but guess what? They still selling you over there. They just had an article on CNN about them still selling black slaves. Why ain't nobody saying nothing about that? Because don't nobody care about the Negro. Go ahead.
And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own soul, and have carried into your temples my godly pleasant things.
Right, because they robbed us of everything. They took all our gold. They took everything from us. The black man ain't got a damn thing. We ain't even got a pot to piss in. He said, you took everything from them. Go ahead.
The children also of Judah.
The children also of Judah, the so-called black Americans, your so-called Haitians and your Jamaicans. The children of Judah.
And the children of Jerusalem.
That was your Latinos and your Native Americans. You took those two people, right? Go ahead.
Have ye sold unto the Grecians.
Have ye sold unto the Grecians. Remember, he talking about, now I'm saying Tyre and Zidon and the Palestinians, right? He talking about the so-called Africans and the Arabs. He said, you took my people and you sold them to the Grecians. Who are the Grecians today? When you think about Greek history, what comes up? What nation of people come up when they talk about Greek history? Nah. White people. You ever heard of Alexander the Greek?
I heard him, I don't know.
Right, but what I mean is, when you hear about Greek philosophy, it ain't black people you're hearing about. You're hearing about the so-called Caucasians. The Caucasians call themselves Greeks, right? And they call themselves Romans today. And now they call themselves Americans. Those are the same people. He say you sold them unto the Grecians, go ahead.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
He say that you might remove us far from our border. Why? Because we come from the land of Israel. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's at the top of Africa. He say you removed us far from our border. Go ahead.
Behold, I will raise them out of their places, whether ye have sold them.
He say he gonna raise us up out of our places, whether they have sold us. Because when you look at today's history, who has been sold? Us, right? No other nation has ever, you know what I'm saying, went through what we went through. We're the only ones that suffered the slave trade, right?
That's right.
So God is letting you know who his people is. So we came to this side of the world through the way of slave ship. The so-called Negro did. Now, this was the land of the Native Americans and the so-called Mexicans. They was already here. Yeah, hey, you see them on that side, right? Look at them. You see them on that side, don't you? Mexicans, them your brothers too. Think about it. They right here. Did that not happen to them?
Happened to me like that happened to us.
Right, so what do they say on the news when they talk about poor conditions? They say black and brown people, don't they? Huh? Right. They're letting you know that we suffer the same curses. You understand that? And what we're trying to do is show our people who we are according to the Bible.
What is nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community.